Namo Namo Buddha Divakaraya. Namo Namo Gautama Chandrikaya. Namo Namo Ananta Gunanaraya. Namo Namo Shakyanandanaya. I bow down to Lord Buddha, who is luminous like the blazing sun and soothing like the moon. I bow down to Buddha, the prince of Shakya dynasty and the man of infinite divine qualities. May he awaken our souls. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is Buddha and his teachings, part 28. We are observing Buddha's birthday anniversary, which fell in last, I think, Thursday, week before Thursday. Buddha's birthday is called Thrice Blessed Day, which is very interesting. The day, the Vaishakhi Purnima, full moon in Vaishak. The day he was born, the same day he got illumination. And on the same day he died. Same Vaishakhi Purnima. Which is very interesting. I was reading and it said, he was born under a tree in Lumbini Garden. He used to meditate under the Jambu tree. He got illumination under the Bodhi tree. I visited that place in 1982, Bodhi Vriksha in Bodh Gaya. And he died also under a tree. It is very, very interesting about his life. Buddha was born 623 BC. His father's name was Shuddhodana, mother Maya. He was a prince, only son. He was brought up in luxury. He had 32 nurses, 8 bodyguards, 8 people would look after his food, and 8 people would play with him. Buddha has many names. It was given name was Siddhartha, Gautama, Amitabha, Shakyamuni, Shakyasingha, Tathagata, Buddha. He has many names. He was married when he was 16 years old. It was in his horoscope that either he would be a great emperor or he would be a mendicant. So the king was trying utmost to divert his mind to the worldly life. So his father built 3 palaces for him. One for summer, one for rainy season, and one for winter. And engaged all kinds of enjoyments for him. he started and learned 64 lipis. I don't know exactly. Lipi means writings, languages, or various kinds of education he had. Marriage. He married Gopa, had a son named Rahul. One day he went out to see the city and found an old man is walking through the street. Well, who is he? His guide, the charioteer, says, he's an old man. Old man? Yes. All people become old one day. That is the first lesson. The second lesson, he found a man was shivering and walking. Well, what is this? He's a sick man. Sick? Yes. Everybody becomes sick, sometimes or later. Third day he found some people who are carrying a dead body. But what is that? Oh, that man died, so they're taking him for cremation. Cremation? Man dies? Oh yes, everybody dies one day. Third lesson. Fourth lesson, one day I found a mendicant walking through the street. Who is he? Well, he's a monk. He left the world for God. So these 4 lessons changed his life. At the age of 26, he renounced. Buddha's renunciation is called Abhinishkaman, the great departure. He saw his wife was sleeping with the little child. Left. First he tried to get realization through austerity. He stopped eating food. His body was just like a skeleton. The cowboys would throw stones at him thinking he was a ghoul, ghost. Then he took bath in the Niranjana river and fell down. So weak. So a girl named Sujata brought some rice pudding, fed him, and brought back his life. Then Buddha thought, by torturing body, you cannot kill your desire. It is the desire which is the most culprit for coming again and again. So what did he do? He observed Muddham Pantha, middle path. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps those who have string instruments, sitar or tanpura or guitar, they tune. If it is too tight, no good. If it is too loose, no good. So it must be just right. They tune it. Middle path. Too much austerity is not good. Too much luxury, no good. So follow the middle path. That Buddha followed. So he went to Gaya, and there under the Bodhi tree, he took a vow. Buddha's vows are very, very interesting. Barang pranaharodhi gramyam nacha jivitam sangrame maranam shreyo nacha jivit parajita. It is better to die than to lead a vegetating worldly life. It is better to die in the battlefield than to lead a life of a defeat. Beautiful. These are the verses in the Lolita Bistara where we find the elaborate life of Buddha. Then he took another vow. Ihasane shishyati me shariram tagasti mamsam pralancha jatu aprapya bodhi bahukalpa durlabam noivasanat kayamatasya lishyate. Ihasane shishyati me shariram. Let my body dry up in this place. Let my flesh, bone and skin fall apart. Without attaining nirvana, bodhi, I shall not move from this place. And Buddha attained nirvana, illumination. 49 days, he moved around. Shall I share my experience, my knowledge, wisdom with others or not? Mara came, no, enjoy yourself, don't share with others. But he did. He went to Saranath, Mrigodabo, near Benares. Dharma Chakram Prabhurtichi. I shall start this new dharma. As you know, the Eightfold Path of Buddha, that is started. Buddha's religion spread. Swami Vivekananda major remark, Buddha taught the moral and ethical aspects of Vedanta. Buddha never took a single breath for himself. Bahujana Sukhayo, Bahujana Hitayo. For the good of many, for the welfare of all, he led his life. Beautiful life. Some people ask him, what is the difference between Buddhism and Vedanta? Shankara and Buddha. Our teacher told us a beautiful analogy, story. He said, here is a boat. The boat left the harbor. In that boat, 2 passengers, Buddha and Shankara. The boat went into the deep sea. You cannot see anything else except water and the space. No land in the deep sea. Buddha looked upward and saw void, nothing. So he expressed sarvam shunyam. Everything is void. Shankara looked down and found the ocean. And he says, sarvam purnam. Everything is full. Both are the same boat. Both have the same experience. But one saw the negative side, one saw the positive side. That our teacher told us in Vedanta class. Another place we find Buddha and Shankara. Shankara, do you know what is the problem? Problem is the ego. Shankara took the ego and merged into Brahman with this mantra, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And then Jivatma and Paramatma, individual soul and Supreme Soul, united. So ego, he merged into Brahman. What Buddha did, he killed the ego and brought that Nirvana or Brahman in that place. That is the difference between Shankara and Buddha. Very interesting. What is the Buddha's philosophy? Sarvam dukkham, shanikam, salakshanam, shunyam. That is his philosophy. Sarvam dukkham dukkham. Everything in this world full of misery, suffering, pain. Sarvam dukkham dukkham. Sanakshanam. Each thing is a separate entity, different species. Sarvam dukkham dukkham kshanikam. Kshanikam means momentary. Everything is momentary in this life. Different species. Finally, shunyam, merge into void. Here is the lamp. You blow it out. Where does the light go? Here is the flame. You blow it. Where does it go? Nowhere. That is the way Buddha explained. Shunyam. Very interesting. Let me give you two more examples about Yogacara Buddhism and Madhyamika Buddhism. There are 4 schools of Buddhism. Yogacara, Madhyamika, Vaibhashika, Sautrantika. Yogacara Buddhism says Atman, consciousness, is a continuous flow. It is a continuous flow that we find in the Buddhi. Continuous vritti is coming, thought waves. And we are getting knowledge. Chair, microphone, light, all this sound, this continuous flow, chain of consciousness. They give another example. You go to the river, Mississippi River. Your body is touching water. Same water is not touching your body. Continuous new water is coming. So that is the example of Buddhism. Everything is momentary. All these things are continuous going away. But do you know the problem? The problem is you cannot explain memory. That they cannot explain. There they have a loophole in their argument. Your memory comes back. You say that the thought which came, it goes away and it never comes back. You cannot say that. Again it can come back. You can bring back your memory. That is the way. That is called Yogacara Buddhism. Madhyamika Buddhism, they have different view. They Shunyavad. They believe everything is void. In deep sleep, where is your consciousness? Nothing. No knowledge. So, asadeva, asat. So, Atman is not permanent. Anyhow, very, very interesting of this Buddhist philosophy. Today I shall talk to you about the 12th chapter, called the Atma Varga, the chapter on the soul. That is the reason I am giving you all this introduction, so that you can get some glimpses. Consistently with his theories of conditional existence and universal change, Buddha denies the existence of a permanent substance in man called the soul, which persists through all changes, exists before birth and after birth, and migrates from one body to another. That is the concept of the Atman according to Vedanta. Birthless, deathless, immortal. Ajaro, Amaro, Amrito, Abhayo. Ajaro, no disease, no old age. Amaro, immortal. Amrito, then Abhayo, fearless, deathless. That is the Atman. Everlasting. It does not die. It is not born. Buddha does not believe it. But through denying the existence of the identical substance in man, Buddha does not deny the continuity of the stream of successive states that compose his life. Man's life is an unbroken series of states which are causally connected, just as a lamp burning all day and night, is an unbroken series of different flames which are causally connected. That is Buddha. Here is a flame of your lamp. Continuously it is burning, 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 burning. The flames are continuously changing, but flames, it is connected. As I said, the current of water is changing, touching your body all the time. That is his view. Man's life is an unbroken series of stages which are causally connected. Again, as from one lamp another may be lighted, and through the two are different, they are connected causally. Similarly, the end stage of this life may cause the beginning of the next. Therefore, rebirth is not transmigration, migration of the same soul into another body. It is the causation of the next life by the present. The conception of permanent soul is thus replaced here by that of an unbroken stream of consciousness, as in the philosophy of David Hume and William James. This theory of the non-existence of the soul, Anatmavada, has great importance for understanding the teachings of Buddha. I shall not enter more that philosophy, then I shall not be able to tell you what I wanted to say. This is the 28th lecture on Dhammapada. As Bible is very important for the Christians, Quran to the Muslims, Torah for the Jewish people, and Gita for the Hindus, so the Dhammapada for the Buddhists. Reading Dhammapada, Ashoka became a Buddhist. It has 26 chapters, 423 verses. It is the most important and practical teachings of Buddha, which the Buddhists follow. Atma. Vedanta, as I already told you, what Atman is, in the 2nd chapter of the Gita, in the Upanishads, you will find the concept of Atman according to Vedanta Upanishads. Esha Atma, apahata papma, bijaru, bimritu, bishoka, bijigitsa, apipasa, satyakama, satyasankalpa. Esha Atma, this Atman, apahata papma, free from sin. Sin cannot touch the Atman. Bijaru, no jara, no badi, no disease, no old age. Bimritu, deathless. Bishoka, griefless. Bijigitsa, hungerless. Apipasa, no thirst. It is the truth, eternal. That is the definition of the Atman in the Upanishads. Buddha's Atma is the body. Here, Atman, he meant body, mind, buddhi, intellect. That he meant Atma here. Behind, these are the verses are there. I think in each chapter there are 10 verses. Before each verse, each teaching, there is an introduction. Why Buddha taught this one? It is said that there was one prince, built a huge palace, and he invited Buddha to inaugurate that palace. He spread the red carpet. Buddha came. Before he put step on the carpet, he stopped. He did not move. Then when he was asked that why are you not moving, Buddha was all-knowing, omniscient. He said, "O king, you have a huge desire. You have no children. You think inviting me by my grace you will get a child. No, you will not get a child in this life. Why? In previous life you ate many birds and their eggs. You did not spend time, 1/3 of your lifetime in a spiritual life. That was the introduction. And now in that connection, what teaching he gave, listen. I shall not read the Pali or the Sanskrit portion. If a man holds himself dear, let him diligently watch himself. The wise man should be watchful during one of the 3 watches. How do we spend our lifetime? Think of that. Among 24 hours, how many minutes or seconds you spend to think about yourself? Atman, God. Check yourself. This among the 24 hours, how many minutes or seconds you spend? You think about God. That he is talking about. How we spend our lifetime. All worldly things. He was talking, I remember, here one devotee used to come to me and she told me a funny thing. Swami, do you know what is the most difficult thing in the world? To know oneself. Atmanam vidhi, know thyself. That is the most difficult thing in the life. Do you know what is the most easiest thing in life? To give advice to the people. That is your job. I laughed. To give advice, free advice, that is my job, you see. I shall never forget that lady. Atmanam chet vijaniyat ayamosmiti purusha kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjaret. I am the Atman. When you know it, then your desire for the world or desire for physical things will not come to your mind. And those who do not know the Atman, what happens to them? Well, they are committing suicide all the time. It is in the Isha Upanishad. Asurjana mate lokandhena tamasabritaha tagyaste pretta vigachanti jeki atmahano janaha atmahano jana. Every time we are committing suicide. That means we do not know the Atman. We are killing ourselves. Upanishad says that. Atmahano janaha. Everybody protects his or her dearest things. Who is most dearest than your own self? In Shankara's commentary, there is a very interesting example we find. There was a forest fire, and the mother monkey was embracing the child with his chest, with her chest, mother monkey. And the fire was coming below and going up on the tree. Then when the mother monkey gets the heat, he checks the baby and sits on the baby. Let the baby burns. It is in Shankara's commentary. What he meant that one first protects oneself. Sabche priyotaro, dearest, is your own self. People spend in enjoyment. They spend their whole life. If you want to save your life from temptations, from the worldly things, you will have to establish yourself, build your character, attain the supreme knowledge with morality and ethics. Your youth, middle age and old age are passing away one after another. Dinam babi jannam maranam yo sangsare kholu dustare ki pare vai murari. When youth comes, middle age comes, old age comes, but we do not just spend time to think about God. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudamati. Oh, dull-headed person, think about God, think about God, think about God. When death comes, nothing will save your life except this knowledge of the Atman. Next verse. Let me read the verse first, then I shall tell you in what context Buddha gave this teaching. Let each man first establish himself in what is proper. Then let him teach others. If we do this, the wise man will not suffer. It is very difficult to be a teacher anyhow. In the Jetavana forest, another big monastery of Buddha, Upananda was a great teacher, and he used to teach the students. Now, two monks had some fight. They got a cloth and a blanket. And this Upananda was the umpire, teacher. So he says that we want to share of these two things. What shall we do? You settle our fight, quarrel. Upananda says, simple. Chibor. Chibor means cloth. He cut the cloth and gave half to this monk and the half another monk, and he took the blanket himself. Buddha heard this story, and then he gave that teaching. What kind of guru, teacher, just think of that. In this country, there are various kinds of guru. Some sells mantra, some charges their teachings for the teachings. I remember a yogi used to come to Hollywood and told me, Maharaj, what are you doing? You are a learned person. You are giving the teachings free to the American people. Charge kijiye, Maharaj, charge kijiye. Please charge them. I opened the third eye and I charged $75. And you are giving everything free. I shall never forget. It was in Hollywood. Another person came and said, I bought the mantra paying $125. Then I was asking Sai Prabhupada, Maharaj, you give initiation, how much do you charge from your devotee disciples? He said, 1 flower. I go, no, Maharaj, you must charge a fruit. I ask a fruit. those who come for initiation. That is a custom. You will have to, Guru Dakshina, you will have to give something to your Guru. So Buddha scolded that monk that you should not behave like this. You will not be a good teacher. You are still selfish. It happened in California. Swami Vivekananda was giving lectures and Mrs. Hansborough wanted to sell the ticket because he wanted to raise some money. So 50 cents for the lecture. Then somebody criticized Vivekananda, talked about renunciation, and you were charging. The report came to Swamiji. Swamiji said, that is the rule. I should not charge. But if rule does not suit me, I change it. Very interesting. Next verse. If a man so shapes his life as he directs others, then subduing himself well, he might indeed subdue others, since the self is indeed difficult to subdue. There was another great Buddhist teacher named Tisha. He had 25 disciples, and he went to the forest to practice meditation and study. He used to give a lot of teachings to the students and ask them, concentrate on your within, then you will have to serve others. So the disciples followed his teachings. Then he said that he was giving teachings only verbally. He does not practice it. He is spending time with luxury, comfort, laziness, and sleep. So seeing the Guru in that condition, they came to Buddha and reported the teacher is a hypocrite. Whatever he teaches, he does not practice it. In that connection, Buddha gave this teaching. If a man so shapes his life as he directs others, then subduing himself well, he might indeed subdue, since the self is indeed difficult to subdue. Anyhow, what he was talking about, in Vedanta we call it acharya, achinoti, means the person who practices. Whatever you practice, that you teach. Swami Turiyananda made a remark about Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna never taught anything which he did not practice thrice. If you want to be a guru, you will have to be a role model. Otherwise you cannot teach. I am a hypocrite, and I am giving all big lectures and big sermons. It will not work. That is the reason Sri Ramakrishna told his disciples, watch the holy man at daytime and night time, then trust him. He demonstrated. That is the reason it is extremely difficult to be a good teacher. In the Gospel of Ramakrishna, you will find Sri Ramakrishna's various teachings about Guru. Even in Shankara, in the great jewel of discrimination, Viveka Chudamani, he mentioned Shrutriyo, Abrijino, Akamahato. These are the signs of a Guru. He knows what he is teaching. Shrutriyo, He knows the inner meaning and the external meaning of the scripture. Abrigino, he must be sinless, pure character. Akama hoto, desireless. These are the some small basic signs of a guru. A role model. I used to watch Prabhupada in Hollywood. He introduced that all monks and nuns should come and meditate 3 times a day, 3 hours a day. And he himself would come. I shall lie down in my room and relax, and you meditate. I gave you advice, it will not work. Next verse. The self is the Lord of self. Who else could be the Lord? With self well subdued, a man finds a Lord who is difficult to obtain. अपनी आचुरी धर्म अपर के सिखाए. Just say 160. This is 160. 61. Paul. Another story, beautiful. A young girl came from a very rich parents. She wanted to be a nun. But her parents forced him to get married. She got married and became pregnant. But at that time she did not know that she was pregnant. She took the permission of her husband and became a nun in the convent of Devadatta, Buddha's brother-in-law. Then when baby bump came, then the nuns are whispering and said, you cannot just stay in the convent, you must leave. Then that girl said, no. Then they went to Devadatta. Devadatta says, that girl must leave the convent. Then she went to Buddha. And Buddha was all-knowing, and he inquired everything and came to know that girl was pregnant before she became a nun. So Buddha told Raja King Ajatashatru to settle this problem. Ajatashatru said, I shall take care of her child. So she, at the right time, she gave birth to the son, and the king took care of her, took care of the baby, and she went to the convent. Then the child grew up, and he also became a monk. So one day, the mother and the son, they found each other on the street while they are begging food from door to door. The mother was eager to talk to her son. You see, otherwise mother's heart is a little soft, you see. So, but the boy did not talk to her mother. Then the mother was hurt. But later on, she understood her weakness, her attachment for her son. And she overcame the attachment and became illumined, Arhat. And son also got illumination. That is the story behind this verse. The self is the Lord of all. Who else could be the Lord? With self well subdued, a man finds the Lord who is difficult to obtain. Next verse. The evil done by oneself, born of oneself, produced by oneself, crushes the fool even as a diamond breaks a precious stone. My goodness. He was talking about the Atman. Who is your friend? Your disciplined mind is your friend. Who is your enemy? Or indisciplined mind is your enemy. That he is going to talk about it. The evil done by oneself, born of oneself, produced by oneself, crushes the fool, even as a diamond breaks a precious stone. Diamond, how they cut it. It cuts the stone, those who chisel the diamonds hard. Then he's talking about there's a story behind this teaching. He says, there was one monk named Mahakal. He listened to the sermons in Jetavana at night. It was 8 hours of night. He did not go home. He did not go to the monastery. And then he spent the time at that place. Next morning, he found that there was a theft in that area, and people are searching the thief. And this monk was washing his face in the morning, and they found that all those commodities are there. So they thought that the monk was the thief, so the people started to beat him. Then that news came to Buddha. In that connection, Buddha gave these teachings. The evil done by oneself, born of oneself, produced by oneself, crushes the fool, even as a diamond breaks a precious stone. When it is all karma, your previous life karma was responsible for these things that you are beaten up. Do not blame others. Sometimes this cause and effect theory, we sometimes do not understand, we cannot see it. Then the next verse, as a creeper overpowers the entwined salt tree, he whose impiety is great reduces himself to the state which his enemy wishes for him. Buddha was talking about his brother-in-law, Devadatta. He wanted to kill him. He wanted to be a great leader like Buddha. And he was forecasting about his future life, that what will happen. If you harbor ill feeling all the time inside you, it will come to you as a boomerang. I sometimes ask people, do not harbor ill feeling. It will be like a cancer. It will kill you. A jealousy, hatred, anger, they will come back to you. That Buddha was talking. But this fellow is doing all these bad things against me. I don't care. I'm not buying his merchandise. Bad things, evil things. It will go back to him. In that connection, Buddha told a story. A farmer came to sell his produce in the city. Whole day he tried to sell, no buyer. What will he do? He take back all of his merchandise to home. So if somebody wants to come and release their anger, hatred, jealousy toward you, don't buy them. They will go back to him. That he is talking about. He gave a beautiful illustration. Here is a big tree. Sometimes the creepers entwine that tree and cover, and then go on the top and suffocate the tree, and the tree dies. So evil actions cover your body, your mind, your everything, and then one day that evil actions will kill yourself. You know, those illustrations are very interesting. Next verse. Evil deeds which are harmful to oneself are easy to do. What is beneficial and good, that is very difficult to do. One day, Buddha's attendant name was Ananda, his cousin. You see, always remember, Ananda was very important in Buddha's life. There are 184,000 teachings of Buddha. And Ananda knew by heart 182,000. And 2,000 he learned from others. See, Buddha, he all the time stayed with Buddha. So one day, Ananda went for begging food on the street and met Devadatta, and Devadatta was instigating him to go against Buddha and bring a split. And he wants to be a big shot, you see. So when Ananda came and reported to Buddha, Buddha told this teaching. Evil deeds which are harmful to oneself are easy to do. You know, to ruin your character, it does not take much time to think. Drinking and going to the bad places. You have money, go and ruin your life in no time. But to build character, to be spiritual, you will have to work hard. It is just like a river current. If you go the river current which is flow, easy. But against current, you will be tired in no time. But sometimes it is good to go to easy current. Do you know why? I remember when I was coming to Calcutta, from our home, you will have to cross a big rivers. So my father told me that if the boat sinks, immediately, we learn swimming, but immediately go to the current of the river and always try to go to the shore, this bank of the river, corner-wise. Never go against current, then you will be tired. Just float and go by the current of the river and try to reach the land. Don't go against the current. And if you do not know swimming, do not move. Those boats are made with segun wood. That boat never sinks. It will float. Hold the boat. we are trained, we are village people, when we used to come to Calcutta, trained us that how to save your life. And while swimming, somebody will come and grab you. No, push. Save your life. Anyhow, I still remember all this, my childhood days. Seven, evil deeds. When Devadatta attempted to create a split among the priesthood, Gautama uttered the following verse, which precedes verse 163. This is not included in Dharmapada. What is good is easy to performance by one who is good, but difficult by one who is bad. What is bad is easy of performance by one who is bad, but difficult by those who are righteous. Next, the foolish man who scorns the teaching of the saintly, the noble, and the virtuous, and follows false doctrine, bears fruit to his own destruction, even like the Kachaka. I do not know Kachaka, anyhow. There was a very virtuous woman. He used to love a monk like her own son. So one day she wanted to go to see Buddha. But this monk was thinking, if she goes to Buddha, I shall not get much of her support. So he was discouraging her to go to Buddha. But she went to Buddha and was greatly benefited from him. When Buddha heard that story, that that this person is discouraging this person to come to him and to lead a higher spiritual life because of selfishness. In that connection, he told this thing. The foolish man who scorns the teaching of the saintly, the noble, and the virtuous, and follows false doctrine, bears fruit to his own destruction, even like he is killing himself, destroying himself, criticizing others. Jesus said, judge not. If you judge, you will be judged. Next verse. By oneself indeed is evil done, by oneself is one injured, by oneself is evil left undone, by oneself is one purified. Purity and impurity belong to oneself. No one purifies another. It's the same, another story. There was a name Chulokal. He went to Jetobon and heard this sermon whole night. Toward the end of his life, he could not go home to the monastery. He stayed there, and then he went to wash his mouth in the pond. And at that time, but the villagers thought that he was a thief. They started to beat him. And some women came to bring water from that pond. He said, why are you beating this monk? He is a monk. Then these villagers released him. Then these women saved his life. So hearing the sad plight, bad condition of this monk Buddha told this incident. But it is all doctrine of karma. Sin. A man, this line I like of Swamiji. Nothing comes to us which we do not deserve. Nothing comes to us which we do not deserve. It brings karma. You cannot say it. Why me? Why me? Why I am suffering? Why I have disease? Why I have problem? All these things were self-created. This is the cause and effect theory of Vedanta. Every cause must have an effect, and every effect must have a cause. That is the doctrine of karma. Next verse. By oneself indeed is done, by oneself one is injured. Purity and impurity belong to oneself. You can make yourself pure, you can make yourself impure. You know, this one thing we love to in Buddhism. He did not care too much about dependence, this and that. Self-effort, which was emphasized by Buddha. Atma Pradip, light your own lamp, make your own effort, work out your own salvation. That is the Buddha's great teaching. Make effort. You can change yourself. Let no one neglect his own task for the sake of another's, however great. Let him, after he has discerned his own task, devote himself to his task. There is another story behind this teaching. Buddha announced, within 4 months I shall die, Mahaparinirvana. So monks and disciples came from all over to see Buddha before he departs from this world. One monk named Atthadatta, he did not come. He said, our Guru is still alive. While he is alive, I must attain Arhat, illumination. So without going to him, he started to practice his own meditation. The news came to Buddha. In that connection, Buddha gave this lesson. Let no one neglect his own task for the sake of another's, however great. Let him, after he has discerned his own task, devote himself to his task. It is your conduct which will lead you to reward the punishment. Thera replied, Lord, then this monk says, Lord, as you would be passing away 3 months hence, this is 4 months, 4 months here. I thought the best way to honor you is to attaining arhatship during your lifetime itself. And Buddha approved it. First, protect yourself by your money. Dhanam. Dharan rakshe dhaneropi. Protect your wife from money. But protect yourself with money and wife. It is a hitopadesh, it is a shloka, anyhow. So what in Vedanta we find that Atmana mokshartam jagodhitaya. First, focus on your own liberation and then you go to humanity. You do not know how to swim and you apply for a job of a lifeguard. It will not work. You will be drowned. Both will be drowned. Anyhow, these are which is called Atta Vargo, Atma Vargo. What in this chapter, what we find Buddha is emphasizing improve your own self. Self, sometimes in Buddhism, we understand ego, I consciousness, mind. With that Buddha mind, the intellect is the Buddha, is the Atman. Improve it through disciplines. Buddham sharanam gacchami, dharmam sharanam gacchami, sangham sharanam gacchami. We bow down to Buddha, we bow down to his teachings, dharma, we bow down to his sangha, his monastic order, which carries the Buddha's tradition. Om Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace be unto all.